The Tin Toy. The cabin had been out there for as long as anyone could remember. Dustin was the one who found it, or found the path to it anyway. We'd been hiking the woods behind my house since we were kids, knew every trail and creek bed and fallen tree for miles. But this path was new, or old, maybe, overgrown enough that we'd walk past it 100 times without noticing. "Dude, Jake, check this out!" He was 20 feet off the main trail, pushing through a tangle of brush that had no business being that thick in October. I followed him, branches scratching at my jacket, until the trees opened up, and there it was. A house, small, wooden, collapsed in on itself like a body that had given up. The roof was half gone, the windows were empty sockets, and the whole thing leaned to the left like it was trying to lie down and die. "Holy shit," Dustin breathed. "How did we never find this?" "I don't know, man, but we're finding it now." We approached slowly, the way you approach something dead to see if it's really dead. The front door was gone, just a dark rectangle leading into deeper dark. The porch had rotted through in places, and I could see the ground beneath, black and wet. "Should we go in?" Dustin grinned. "Obviously." Inside the cabin smelled like earth and decay, and something older, something that had been closed up so long it had forgotten what air was. The floor creaked under our weight. I half expected it to give way, to drop us into some forgotten cellar, but it held, barely. There wasn't much left. A rusted iron stove in the corner, a table that had collapsed into a pile of gray wood, bottles, dozens of them, brown and green and clear, scattered across the floor like someone had thrown a party and never cleaned up. "This place is ancient," Dustin said. He picked up a tin can, turned it over. "Look at this. No pull tab. You'd need a can opener. My grandma has stuff like this." "When do you think someone lived here?" "I don't know. 1900s? Earlier, maybe?" We explored for another 20 minutes, found old tools, a rotted leather belt, a stack of newspapers so water-damaged they were basically pulp. Dustin found a straight razor and pocketed it, said his dad collected old shaving stuff. I found the toy. It was half buried under debris near what might have been a bedroom. A tin figure, maybe 6 inches tall, shaped like a soldier or a policeman. Hard to tell with the paint mostly worn away. But the metalwork was good, detailed, the kind of thing you'd see on Antiques Roadshow. Some old guy in a bow tie explaining that it was worth $3,000 because of the maker's mark on the bottom. I picked it up, turned it over. No maker's mark, but it was solid, heavy, old. "What'd you find?" called Dustin from the other room. "Tin toy. Might be worth something." "Nice. Earl would probably give you $50 for that." Earl ran the pawn shop on Main Street. He'd bought a few things from us over the years. Old coins, mostly. Stuff we'd found with metal detectors when we were younger. $50 would be a good haul. I slipped the toy into my jacket pocket. "Come on," I said. "Let's get out of here before the floor gives out." Dinner was normal. Mom made pot roast. Dad complained about the Patriots. I ate too fast and got sent to do the dishes while they watched TV. The tin toy sat on my desk upstairs, waiting. By 9, I was in my room getting ready for bed. I pulled on sweats and a t-shirt, brushed my teeth, went through the motions. Before I turned off the light, I looked out my window at the backyard. Deer, 3 of them grazing at the edge of the lawn where the grass met the trees. We got them sometimes, especially in fall. I watched them for a minute, their heads dipping and rising, their ears twitching at sounds I couldn't hear. I reached for the lamp. And then I saw it, a figure just behind the deer, standing at the tree line where the shadows got thick. I froze. The deer didn't seem to notice, kept grazing, calm, unafraid. But there was something there. I was sure of it. A shape, a silhouette, smaller than an adult, the size of a child. I leaned closer to the glass, squinting into the dark. Gone. Nothing there, just trees, just shadows. I told myself I'd imagined it, told myself it was a trick of the light. A branch that looked like a person, the kind of thing your brain invents when you've spent the afternoon exploring abandoned cabins in the woods. I turned off the lamp and climbed into bed. The tin toy was on my nightstand, right where I'd left it. I picked it up, felt the weight of it, the cool metal against my palm. "We'll see what old Earl gives us for you tomorrow," I said. I set it back down, closed my eyes, fell asleep. The smell woke me. Sour, earthly, something rotting beneath the soil, something that had been dead so long it had become part of the ground. I opened my eyes. The room was dark, quiet, but something was wrong. The window, it was open. I always slept with it closed, even in summer. I hated bugs. But there it was, pushed up 6 inches, the curtain stirring in a breeze that smelled like wet leaves and decay. I got out of bed slowly, walked to the window, looked out at the backyard. Nothing. The deer were gone. The tree line was still. Just the night, holding its breath. I closed the window, latched it, told myself my parents must have opened it while I was asleep, let in the fresh air. They did that sometimes. It was fine. Everything was fine. I climbed back into bed. The footsteps woke me the second time. Not walking, not exactly. A step, then a drag. A step, then a drag. The sound of someone moving across my floor who couldn't quite use their legs right. I opened my eyes, and I saw it. A shadow, small, the size of a child, maybe 10 or 12 years old, standing in the middle of my room, between the door and the bed, silhouetted against the faint light from the window. It moved. Step, drag, step, drag. Closer. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, could only watch as the shape shambled toward my bed, slow and wrong and patient. It stopped at the edge of the mattress, and I saw what it was. A boy. Or what was left of one. The skin had dried and pulled tight against the bones, mummified, leathery, stretched over a skull that was too visible beneath. The clothes were old. Suspenders, a collared shirt, wool pants, all of it tattered and rotted and hanging off a frame that hadn't held flesh in a century. The eyes were the worst. Milky white, no pupils, no iris. Just 2 pale orbs staring at me from a face that had forgotten how to be alive. It raised one hand, pointed at the tin toy on my nightstand, then pointed at me. Its mouth opened. Something dry and ancient moved in its throat, trying to form words. "Mine." The voice was like dead leaves, like wind through an empty house, like nothing that should come from a human throat. "Mine." I understood. "I didn't know," I whispered. The words came out choked, barely audible. "I didn't know it was yours. I'm sorry. Take it. Please, take it." The thing smiled. The skin at the corner of its mouth cracked. Something dark and dry flaked away, but it smiled, wide and wrong. And I thought it was over. I thought it would take the toy and leave, and I would never go into those woods again, never take anything that wasn't mine, never. It reached for me, not the toy, me. And then there was a light. Jake is carrying something heavy. Weight in his arms, the smell of rot, thick and close. The feel of cold night air on his skin. He's in the backyard, near the tree line, right where the deer were grazing hours ago. He looks down at what he's carrying. A body, small, mummified, dressed in tattered clothes from another century. He doesn't feel horror. He doesn't feel anything. Just a calm sense of purpose, clear and cold. He sets the body down at the edge of the woods, walks to the shed, gets the shovel, starts digging. The ground is soft from the recent rain. The hole comes together quickly. Not deep, but deep enough. He rolls the body in. It lands face up, Those milky eyes staring at the sky, the mouth still fixed in that terrible smile. He lifts the first shovelful of dirt. The mouth moves. "No!" The voice is weak, desperate. The thing in that body finally understands what's happening, finally realizing that it's about to be buried in a hole it will never climb out of. Jake smiles. He throws the dirt over its face, shovelful after shovelful, until the eyes are covered, until the mouth is covered, until there's nothing but a mound of fresh earth where a body used to be. He pats it down with the back of the shovel, smooth, neat, like a grave, like an ending. The bathroom mirror shows me my new face. I turn on the faucet, watch the dirt swirl down the drain as I wash my hands. Take my time. There's no rush, not anymore. When my hands are clean, I look up. The face looking back is young, 17, maybe 18, strong jaw, clear eyes, skin that isn't pulling away from the bones, that isn't dried and cracked and falling apart. I flex my fingers, roll my shoulders, feel the blood moving through veins that work, the lungs filling with air that doesn't taste like dust. So much better than Billy Wright. Billy was already dying when he found the cabin. Consumption, they called it back then. He had months left, maybe weeks. The thing in that house offered him a trade, more time in exchange for a place to stay. And Billy said yes, because dying boys always say yes. But the body was never right, never strong. A century of walking in rotting skin, waiting for someone else to stumble through that door, to pick up one of the objects that anchored me to that place, to carry it home and give me a path to follow. I waited a long time, but the wait is over now. I smile at my reflection. The skin doesn't crack. The muscles move the way they should. Everything works. Everything fits. Yes, I say. The voice is new, young, full of life. This will do.